Hello everyone and welcome back. This week we've got kind of a different build for you. When the car isn't that different, but this one's got a story. Now, why is it called Sur5or? Well, you'll get to read the card at the end of the video, but let's just say that it's been through some things. Not the least of which was being inside of a fire in a garage while it was on a lift. And yes, she still runs. This is just one of the coolest automotive stories I've heard in a while. Now, we don't have to do a lot to this car. As a matter of fact, we really don't need to do much. It's got to be stripped, of course, because it's a different color, but even after that, it's just painting the interior and doing the rims. So, yeah, not much to do. If you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'm saying it's going to be a pretty easy build. Now, I didn't record it, but I shaved off that hood scoop. This particular version has two what look like vents on the hood. I don't know, I've never seen it before, but we're going to try to replicate those. Yeah, it doesn't look quite right. I don't know, maybe I'll be happier with it after primer. Regardless, the other one has to go on before we can get it into primer and see how it looks. I had hoped to just get it into primer, but, well, this isn't going to work, is it? I'm going to have to use some body filler to fix that. I kind of lost what I was doing here, folks. Started picking at the scab. Sorry. I fixed my issue and got it all cleaned up. Then I put it into primer. And it was right about here that I decided those vents were just too big. I didn't lose much time to it, so I decided to have Foggy paint them on. Speaking of that woman, for the first time in a long time, I actually do have something to say about this. She struggled pretty heavily with trying to figure out how to make the body damage look right. Dents and rust are one thing, but actual burns in the paint, that's something entirely different. But for what it's worth, I think she did a fine job. Enjoy the show, folks. She said she was only relatively satisfied with how it turned out, but I liked it, so I took it back and moved on to the interior. Now, I did have a Tinkercad session for this, but I already had a set of Kragers in Tinkercad, so I just used those. At this scale, they're very hard to tell apart. Once I get the wheels and tires mounted, I'll put them on the axles and test them for length. If they're too long, they're super easy to cut. Of course, if they're too short, then that makes things more difficult. No worries though, I got it. I will say though that this particular casting of the Dart is kinda meh. In point of fact, if these wheels were properly sized for a 1/64th, they'd be over double the width. I guess Mattel isn't going for 100% accuracy. Alrighty, here's fitment test number 1. Well, the rear end looks fine, but the front end doesn't seem to want to sit properly. Wrap your head around that. Oh wait, I already know what the problem is. You remember when I had to fill in the holes that I punched in the hood? Yeah, well, apparently I left a little bit of excess under there and it's got to come out. And the fact that the axles are a little long, which is putting the tires directly in line with the wheel wells, probably not the best idea. Yeah, that's better, but I'm gonna have to grind that excess out of there. Aside from that, it's really just putting everything together and gluing it down, folks. So, how about some glamour shots?